Hello everyone, welcome to my tutorial on Python variables. We know that the variables are containers for storing data values. So that means a variable holds some value and this value can be used later on. And unlike other programming languages, Python has no command for declaring a variable. So that means in Java, what we do is we can say that int x and then we say x equals 5. Okay, so in this case we declared the variable first and we are saying that the variable is of type integer and then we are assigning a value to it. But in case of Python, what we do is we just say x equals 5. Okay, so in this case Python knows that x is a variable of type integer, and then we can say y equals apple, and Python knows that y is a string data type. Now if we are going to look into the Jupyter notebook, so let's see over here that we are going to say x equals 5 and then we are going to say y equals, let's say, a. In this case we have declared the variables and then we are going to just type print x and then we are going to type print y and then let's run it and you can see that the values are being printed. Now if we would like to know that what type of variable it is or what is the data type, we can just write like this: print type x and print type y, and then if we are going to print, and you can see that the first one is of integer type and the second one is of string type. Okay, and remember that whenever we are declaring a string type, the string type can be declared like this: y equals double quote, or a single quote is also okay. All right, so this is how we are going to do or declare a variable. Now whenever declaring a variable, we need to follow some of the conventions and some of the rules. So the first one is that variable name must start with a letter. Must start with a letter or the underscore. Okay, so this is one thing. The second thing is that must not start with a number. Okay, and a variable can be only containing the alphanumeric characters and underscores. So that means we can have only alphanumeric numbers so that means capital A to small z, or 0 to 9 and then the underscore. Okay, and variable names are always case sensitive. So these are the things that we need to remember, and in such case that we have to know that 2xy equals, if you are just going to print like this, or I mean if you are just going to assign this integer value 10 to 2xy, this is something called illegal. Okay, now there are a few other things. Sometimes we use it or sometimes we may not use it, but it is good to remember. And these are, let's say that we have x equals y equals z. Okay, and we are saying that this is A. So what it does mean, it means that the variable x, y, and z both are, or all of them are having the value of A. Or if we are going to say that x, y, z equals A, B, and C, in this case the value of x will be A, y will be B, and z will be C. Okay, so let's do that in our Spyder notebook. Okay, so let's say x equals y equals z equals A, and if we are going to print x and then print y, and we can see that all of them are going to print A. Okay, and if we are going to say like this, A and B and C, and then you can see that this time it's going to print as A and B. Okay, so other thing that we need to know, that let's say we have the value of x equals 5 and y equals 10, and then when we are going to do like this, plus y, it is going to print us 15, because for the numbers or for integer types, the plus sign is just doing what the plus should do. Okay, just adding. But if we are going to say that x and then y is, oops, so, and then y is apple, and if we are going to add that, this will give you an error because we cannot do that. In this case, what we have to do is we have to convert this to a string, and this is the way that we are going to do that. str. Okay, and let's run it, and you can see that we have concatenated a string and a number. Okay, so that's about the variable types, the basic variable types. We need to know also the global variables type, and the global variables are variables that are created outside of a function. So let's say that we are going to write something like this. Okay, we are going to say x equals hello, and then we are going to write a function. We'll talk about what a function is and how to write a function, but just would like to show you that what the global variable is. So def my function, and then we are going to write like this, print, and we are going to say like this. Okay, and then we are calling that function my function. Okay, so let's run it, and you can see that this is being printed as hello. Why we're saying this global? Because this is the scope of our function, and the name of the my function is myfunc, and you can see that within that we have used what? We have used a variable which is defined outside of this function, and this is what we are calling the global variable. So the global variable is being printed. Okay, now let's take another condition, that if you create a variable with the same name inside a function, this variable will be local and can only be used inside that function. The global variable with the same name will remain as it was, global, and with the original value. So what it does mean, that let's say x equals hello, and we are defining another one, x equals world. Okay, and if we are going to print that, print x, And here, let's print again, print x. So in this case, what happens? This is a global variable, and this is the local variable. And we'd like to see that what the effect is. So if we are going to run, and you can see that the first one is printed as world and the second one is printed as hello. Why it happened? Because if we come here, we have defined x equals hello, and then we have defined a function, my function, and then we have defined world, and then we have printed print x, and then we have print x. So you can see that in both the cases we have the variable name same. So this is the global and this is a local variable, okay, but with the same name. So the effect is that whenever you are using the local variable inside this definition, this value, the local value, will be printed, but whenever you are coming out of that function, the global variable will be printed. Okay, so that's all about the variables that we learned today. Thank you.